All right. Welcome everyone to the Thursday, October 17th edition of the Somerville Urban Forestry Committee meeting. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, this meeting will be held remotely. And we will kick things off by inviting everyone who is here tonight. We like to be inclusive, and if any attendees in the audience, we invite to promote you to panelists so that you can unmute yourself and say hello. I see a few people are just joining on, so including Wilson Otter AI bot. Is that the automated note-taking?
Yeah.
Okay. We won't kick them out. And yeah, so attendees, you're welcome to, Vanessa can promote you to panelists, so you can unmute yourself and say hi if you'd like. And we start off with committee introductions. So we'll go around and everyone on the committee can introduce themselves. We'll start with Kala.
Wait, would Breck be before me or no?
Oh yeah, Breck, you can go first. You're always, yeah, the second first name always throws me off.
To confuse everybody. Hi everybody, my name is Breck Miller. I'm the city tree warden.
Hi everyone, my name is Kala Taylor. I'm a student at Somerville High School and I'm a youth member of the Urban Forestry Committee.
And it looks like maybe Doris is joining audio right on time.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, my name is Doris Jenkins. I'm a member of the committee and I am a resiliency engineer and arborist.
And we don't have Dorothy today. My name is Leah Grossman. I'm a landscape architect and I'm one of the co-chairs of the committee. And I'm excited about all the fall color that we're starting to see. It's very wonderful.
I'll go next.
Yeah.
I'm Vanessa Bukili, Senior Urban Forestry and Landscape Planner, and very entrenched in tree planting.
Awesome. All right, we're gonna have Rob or Tori.
Yeah, hi, I'm Tori Antomino. I co-chair the Urban Forestry Committee, and I too am falling in love with, having a love affair right now with the reds, and trying to think of things to get people's mind, like, you know, to replace burning bush. Like, we have the reds, right? So that's my task this week, is to highlight the red plants, and it's all beautiful.
Hi, I'm Rob Van Den Abiel, associate member of the committee and an urban tree enthusiast. I live in Cambridge and I do some consulting work for Portico Brewing, which is in Somerville.
Awesome. Thank you, all committee members. And do we have any housekeeping items? Do we have someone taking notes today?
Yeah, I'm taking notes today, so we'll stick
Awesome.
with the rest of the schedule as originally planned.
Perfect. Any other housekeeping before we go to resident concerns?
Maybe here's a good time to remind everyone that we have 2 open positions on the committee, so tell your friends. Applications are due by next Friday. I've gotten some so far, but if more people are interested, that would be great too.
Awesome. All right, so let's jump in. Our next item up is resident concerns. So this is when we make some space for anyone to voice concerns or enthusiasms or questions. It's really a space for residents to, bring their questions to us. So we'll open it up, and we also invite you just to introduce yourself and tell us what brings you here tonight. So I see Tara on video. If you have a concern or just want to say hello.
Hi, yeah, Tara McManus. I live at 9 Central Road. I'm just calling in. Actually, I received a letter on my door about a week or 2 ago notifying us that we were selected for the tree program. So we're really excited about that. One comment though I do have is that it said on the note that we do need to cut our bushes back or away completely. And I guess we weren't ready to do that like in the next few weeks. We kind of wanted to maybe, if we could postpone the tree, maybe installation to next spring, so we can set everything up for the garden that we're planning to do in the front yard first. That might be best.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tara. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I thought that might be the case. I didn't give you much warning, so I'm glad you let me know. I wasn't gonna plant till the bushes were ready, so happy to delay it till spring.
Awesome. That's it. The only other thing was, do you guys have a normal setback for, we have the gas line that just was installed there that was, it looks a little close to where you proposed the white tee, but
I stay out of the tolerance zone, so it's usually like 1 foot from the gas line. If it's not where it looked like it was, then I might need to shift. I usually go by where the handholds are, so.
it was a few feet. I just wasn't sure.
Okay,
if it-
great.
you know, what
Phew,
your separation was. Nope,
Okay,
nope.
good. Yeah.
Just wanted to
Thanks.
clarify that.
The tree roots don't like the gas, so as long as there's not a leak in the gas pipe, it's okay to be relatively close.
And our sewer is on the opposite side, so
Okay,
we're fine with it.
perfect.
Tori,
I
did you have
feel
a
like I might,
response?
yeah. What is the program? Did I somehow,
Tree planting, Tori.
but I heard part of the tree planting program? Or that Tara's getting a new tree in near her home.
Yeah, yeah, I marked
The
out the
latter.
sidewalk for
Okay.
a new tree to be planted there.
Okay, congratulations. Tara, I might encourage you to request a native tree if that's something you would like to have near your home.
We're up for pretty much whatever your recommendations are, and we're excited to have a new tree. Just didn't want to do it this fall, and we'll be ready in the spring.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining tonight, and feel free to stick around and listen to everything else we have coming up. But yeah. All right,
Thank you.
I'd invite any other attendees. I see Amelia and Crystal and Sada. So all of you, you're welcome to accept the promotion to panelist if you'd like to say hello and unmute yourself and express any concerns. I see Crystal. Hello.
Hey, this is Crystal. Sorry, mostly dropping in. I am still formulating my questions in terms of the thing that I was talking with Malik and Tori about earlier today, so I'm not ready to actually ask them yet. Sorry.
All right, a very intriguing pitch for the future. Can't wait to hear what we've got going on. All right, and I see Amelia has a hand raised. Amelia, if you're able to unmute yourself, come on in, say hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, I'm a master's student in Tufts Environmental Policy and Planning program. I actually know Crystal through that. And I just want to get more involved, and this meeting sounded really interesting. So I'm just here to be nosy more than anything else.
Awesome. Great to have you. And I also see Sada with a hand raised. Feel free to unmute yourself.
Hi there. I'm an undergraduate student at Tufts, kind of similar, wanting to get to know a little bit of our local policy and decision making.
Awesome. Well, welcome to both of you. And I think we have a youth member position available on the committee if you guys are interested in joining the committee. So yeah, feel free to stick around, ask questions, pipe in as you will. All right, do we have any resident concerns from any committee members? Everyone's just in awe of all the beautiful color. We don't see any problems. That's great. Love to hear it. All right, let's start with updates from the city. We'll start with city tree removals.
No updates at this time. I think we still have a handful of the removals from the last list I sent out that are still pending. We do have a tree hearing coming up on, Vanessa, do you remember the date offhand?
Oh, I remember what it was going to be. November something now. November 14th, I want to say.
In about 4 weeks, so I'll send you the details when I've got them.
Awesome. And for folks who haven't been on a committee meeting before, in this in this moment, we just check in on any trees that are going to be removed either on within public right of way or on private land. I gotta work on my blurb on introducing what this is. But we basically just tell everyone to be aware of any trees that are being removed. So if you get concerns or questions from neighbors and they know that you're an engaged tree person, we make sure that everyone on the committee is sort of up to speed on tree happenings within the city. And we have this great spreadsheet that can be made available for viewing for anybody. If you are interested in it. I'm just gonna zoom down to the bottom here.
Leia, I set a filter on this now so we can sort a little more easily.
Ooh, cool.
If you want to look at the tree removal permit issued filter at the top, do you use filters in Excel? Right in the little like 3 lines right next to where it says tree removal permit issued.
This one, yep. I was just looking for the correct column. Oh, I wonder if I can't do it.
Oh, in view only. Oh, bummer. Okay.
But
Well,
it
that's
tells me that
unfortunate.
there
What
is.
if maybe I can do it and it'll filter for you?
Oh, maybe.
Working out some tweaks. Let's see. That filter for you
Oh,
too?
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then UFC informed, no.
All right, look at
Will
that.
help us. So those are the ones we don't know, we haven't discussed yet, or maybe haven't discussed.
Ooh, hopefully we discussed this one back in April.
Yeah. Hopefully. Change that to yes. Yeah. I think we did talk about 14 Powder House too.
Yeah, I feel like we talked about all the ones like up to at least like August and September. I feel like I remember talking about
Great.
these.
So let's look at the bottom. Yeah, 44 Linden.
Yeah, and Hawthorne.
Hawthorne.
We talked about the box elder.
Oh yeah. Hudson, Stickney, and 24R Linden. So we did a small analysis recently and have not gotten any money for tree removals this year. So most of the removal permits have been from homeowners, or there's been exemptions, or they're mitigating with replanting. So a bit different from prior years, but there are some replacement trees happening. We can do a more full report with actual numbers, at the end of the year or early next year.
All right.
And then there are some exemptions as well in the other tab there. I'll filter those too.
So we can change all the ones on this tab now. We got through the 24 Linden.
Yeah, I'll update that.
Any questions on any of these to the committee folks? I see a hand raised from Amelia.
Sorry, just forgot to put it down from earlier.
Oh, no worries. All right, so those are all good. And then, so basically people need a permit to remove a tree. And these are all the applications. And if they were given a permit, and then some are exempt from needing a permit.
Right. So trees that are in dead or dangerous condition or are invasive species under certain sizes are exempt from requiring a permit, but we do like to keep tabs on what they are so we know that they're exempt. So we issue exemption emails. So there's a handful here.
All right. And I feel like, yeah, again, I think we probably caught up to at least the ones from September. And it looks
Yeah.
like most of these are either hazardous or ailanthus.
Yeah.
And ailanthus and dead. Any questions on these, Calla?
I was just wondering, it's not directly related to this, but since we're on the topic of like the tree ordinance, I remember like a while ago, Chris was working on like revisions that we were like suggesting to make. Has there been any update with that?
Great question. Not for a little bit. We worked with the law department to go over some stuff, and then they recommended that we check with the permitting departments in the city to make sure that our new suggestions make sense with the way that their permits work. So we've met with ISD, the Inspectional Services Division or Department, and they recommended some changes that I'm working on, but not at the top of my list at the moment, but need to get back to. And then we need to talk to the engineering department too, who does other permits. So things that we thought were easy are turning out to be a little bit more challenging than we expected. So we just have to make some tweaks, and then we'll take it to the mayor with the final revisions and the city council. And then they may make totally different suggestions. So
Long
thanks for asking.
process.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Will we get a preview before it goes back to city council or before it gets presented to city council?
Sure, if you want one, I can share it with the group.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm just more like curious to see how it's evolved,
Yeah, sure.
because I know we tried to predict all the logistical challenges, but we could obviously never know all of them. So
A lot of the recommendations that like Chris and the UFC made were more simple than some of the additions that we've made internally. So
great. All right.
I have a question on the permit applications
Mhm.
tab. It's 24 Linden.
Yep.
And I just was trying to figure out what tree was removed and its caliper, because it says resident
It looks like
PA.
maybe the permit application was
probably, yeah.
incomplete.
Mm-hmm.
So
Let me see
maybe
if
they
I
didn't
can
have
find
the information.
But then if it was issued, that got resolved. So let me see if I
Oh.
can find it.
And I see too, you gave, was it you and Malik or the Tree Amigos who did the recommendations? Plans recommended? Oh, plans received?
Yeah, plans, yeah,
Plans
received.
received, okay.
Yeah. Those are just all the requirements for how to have a complete permit application. Permit issue, no, that's 44. I'm not seeing the email, so I can dig into this with Citizen Serve.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
pressing. I was just
Okay.
more curious, but it's good to see a lot of those Norway maples being gone and the ailanthus and I mean, I mourn the trees and I look forward to
New ones.
more new ones. Exactly.
Awesome. Shall we then shift to fall planting?
Sure. Fall planting, it's fall. Planting will be occurring. So I'm working with three different planting groups. The Mystic River Watershed Association has a grant to help plant trees on private property and public property. And through their grant, we're going to be planting 66 trees on public property starting this fall through next year. So I'm only doing 6 this fall, but those will be going in potentially next week. And they will also be working to plant 60 trees on private property, but that probably none will go in this fall as they get organized and set up and reach out to folks. But they are working with 3 people to help spread the word on and like recruit people to get trees into their yards. They're called the resident ambassadors. And our Somerville resident ambassadors are Allie, the associate member, Amy Myrtle, and Jennifer Clifford. So all UFC current or former folks. So that's exciting.
That's amazing. It's
yeah.
amazing.
It's great.
Amazing.
Then, yeah, go ahead.
Can you just repeat the organization again?
Oh, sure. The Mystic River Watershed Association.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then there was some dead and mostly dead trees behind the skate park at Lincoln Park. So there's like a big bare open area now. Those trees got removed by the tree crew, and I'm going to work with them and sort of teach them how to do tree planting and plant 9 trees back there. So we're going to do that in-house, all native, of course. And a good diversity, use the pollinator action plan to help think about what species make sense, as well as the tough conditions there because it's clay soil. Yeah, so that's going on in the planning bucket, and then hoping to plant also 180 trees with my planting contractor, Wagon Wheel. So I'm working on lists there. We have species selected. I was trying to find my list, the final list that happened, and I didn't have time to get organized right before this, so I will send it out by tomorrow at the latest, but it's, I think, 60% native. They were able to do some fall dig hazards even because they found trees that were already dug above ground. So I even get to plant some oaks and stuff. So I'm excited about that. So lots happening. And then there's like 40 or 50 warranty replacements that are going to be done as well, but those don't count as new plantings. So as I said, entrenched in fall planting at the moment.
Did you say 40 or 50
Yeah.
warranty replacements?
Yeah, for the last few years. So like 20 or 30 from
Northeastern or-
Northeastern. Yeah, and then 10 or 15 from Leahy.
Yeah. Wow.
Is that,
I hope they're doing more than breaking even. For
Oh yeah. I mean, if
a
I
lot of
plant
replacements.
350 and we're planting 15, that's
oh,
sounds like a lot. Well, for 15
Yeah.
for 2023. Northeastern hasn't done any replacements, so it's like 2 years worth of replacements.
Yep.
But yeah. Depends.
Excellent work.
Thank you. I see questions from Crystal. Trees of, oh, do you, yeah,
yeah.
you want to say your
Sorry, if it's
things?
okay. Through the
Please.
chair.
Sorry.
So I was at City Hall earlier today, first time since 2019, very exciting. And looking around to the right of the City Hall front steps, like behind the front bit of the building, like toward the, there are a couple of sapling looking trees that are to the right and toward the athletic field, but up against the building, if that makes sense. I didn't get really close because there was that huge drop, and I was trying to not spend all day at City Hall. But I noticed that the leaf pattern of what's left, it looked like the leaves that were still on the trees were green, but there were very few leaves on the trees. And I didn't know if those were also potentially warranty trees or if they had suffered in the 28 days of no rain this summer, or like, I was wondering if you could tell me the story of what is up with them and how they're doing. Is that okay?
Absolutely, I can, yes. So those trees were planted as part of the high school project. They were planted last fall. Those 2 trees are redbud trees. I just did an assessment of all those trees that were planted in the fall, and those and 5 or so other ones lost their leaves early, so they're in like some sort of stress. they still are alive, but they're not thriving. So I conveyed, and those red buds also were kind of sad looking even before the leaf drop. They're okay. They may be okay, but they're not doing super duper. So I conveyed that to the project manager for that project, and they're trying to work on getting all the not thriving trees replaced this fall. I'm not sure if they will do it or not, but sort of out of my hands. If they don't get replaced under warranty and they continue to not do well, then I'll deal with it later. I'm replacing about 10 trees in the front of the high school that didn't make it. So they'll get on the list one way or the other.
Thank you, Vanessa. I
Sure.
possibly overly worry about them, but you know.
No, that's great. Please let me know any ones you find. I may have seen them or I may not. So it's always good to know.
Yeah, Tori.
You know, so I'm just thinking about, so I see the DPW, you know, they water all the hanging baskets, including the ones at at the city hall in the summer. If ever those resources could be expanded to, I know it's not our decision, right? I guess I'm just saying, if ever anything can be worked out with the DPW supporting trees or plants that are no longer warranty, I'm just speaking it because maybe I know it's complicated, but I just want it. And yeah, maybe that can be a thing someday.
Oh.
With all appreciation for what the DPW does.
I know some of the areas of the high school are irrigated, like where the pollinator garden went in is irrigated. I don't know if the irrigation includes over there where the red buds are. There are definitely certain places where I don't think it's irrigated, but yeah.
I bet they're gonna make it. There we go. They're gonna be okay.
Yeah, Caleb.
I mean, if we're specifically talking about the trees around the high school, I think it could be an interesting idea to see if like there was a program or a club or students who wanted to get involved in helping to take care of those trees. I know like that one of the environmental science classes is currently monitoring, sorry, monitoring some trees in front of the building, but I think it could be interesting to see if there are any students who want to like help water them or regularly check in on them or something.
That would be fabulous. Yeah, if you have any contacts, I can reach out. A lot of the watering is in the summer, so I don't know if there's like a summer program that they could get involved in too, but even like some spring watering or fall watering can be helpful.
Nala, could you put in the chat some of those teachers? I think like Quigley, or
Yeah.
would you feel comfortable sharing their emails? Because I'd love to help make it happen.
Yeah, sure.
Or
I
just their
will
names,
type-
I can find it.
I will type.
It should be
Okay.
found here. They have public emails. They're accessible to the public, so.
Okay. Yeah, if you just want to
Yeah,
share
and-
their names.
Yeah, I'll type in the chat just the two I think would be maybe the most helpful.
Cal, I have a question for you too. Do you know if does Somerville High School, do they have any sort of community service requirement for their seniors or anything?
There is no graduation requirement, but
Okay.
for students who are in the National Honor Society, there is. And I'm actually one of the like student officers for the National Honor Society. And as a group, we organize service projects. So I'm thinking about possibly trying to organize a service project that would involve maybe trees somewhere. I think
Fantastic.
it might make more sense to do it in the spring when the weather's a little bit nicer, but
Yeah, that would be great. That's a really good idea.
Awesome. Any other fall planting to high school planting questions, comments, thoughts? All right. Yeah, we have the pollinator action plan. I know it's out there and being spread around. My coworker was like, "Oh, did you hear about this pollinator action plan?" I'm like, "I gave you a presentation on that 6 months ago. Like, come on, keep up." But it's making
Yeah,
its way around,
it
which
was
is
also
great.
getting passed around our work and our clients, so we're definitely spreading it around as much as possible too. Everyone's super excited.
It's great to hear because Lisa, my boss, is worried we're not getting as much buzz
Mm.
as we deserve. So that's exciting. I'm glad it's getting passed around. I think there was an ASLA, I don't know what ASLA stands for, Leah,
American
Association.
Society of Landscape Architects.
Thank you. A conference last week, and I think it was discussed there too. So I don't have any other updates. I wonder if we should change this to some other topic, but I did also mention it at the garden club presentation I gave a few weeks ago. I think it was a few weeks, last week. I don't know. It's been a blur, but recently. Thanks, Crystal. Crystal was there. Yeah, but they, preaching to the choir over there, they know a lot of these things already, I think. But maybe they'll change some of their habits.
I wonder if this action item can evolve into like how, stories of how it's getting used or ideas of how we can suggest new people to get their hands on it and sort of adapt into like, instead of action plan, like action. What are the actions?
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. And I will say that just as a citizen, I have found it really helpful and useful, and I'm using it right now to help sort of plan my yard in Cambridge. I live in a condo, and I've taken over care of the condo, and I'm got this whole section that I'm using the monarch butterfly theme for that whole area, and for the other side chose like one of the beetles that had like a theme, and I found that particular feature like really cool to give you some direction, because as a novice it is a bit intimidating when you're like, there's 100 plants and I don't know how to pick which ones, but that really has really helped me sort of focus. And I think it's a good, compelling story too, right? You can tell people, oh, this is my monarch sort of area, or my whatever beetle or something area. So I think that feature is really cool.
Right.
Shout
Found
out
it
to Nick
very helpful
Dorian.
too. Mhm.
That's great to hear. I've scanned through the whole thing, but I don't remember. This is making me think back to a idea of, yeah, have we delivered a copy to like our friends at Ricky's or other like Home Depot, other nurseries that now all of our residents are going to be going to probably first to look for all these plants to plant in their yards? Because we should, it'll obviously take time to change their supply chain. But I know I always have a hard time. Like I go there often and just like peruse around and ask for things. But maybe if we gave them a copy, digitally or whatever, to start to shift it in the right direction.
That's a great idea. I don't think that's been done. We're working to get some copies printed, but we won't have too many. We won't have a lot of extra because we end up not using them. But I think at least a digital one, or maybe we can even print the pages that are the most relevant.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Mahoney's and Pemberton. That's a great point, Crystal, as well.
I like that idea a lot too. And you could almost play it into a competition by also maybe even naming. So if you go to Grow Native Mass, they list, these 8 or 10 native nurseries, and you could almost maybe try to entice some of these others to say, oh, well, if someone's gonna go up to Oak Haven Sanctuary or down to Blue Stem Natives or over to City Natives, that might get the attention of some of those other places to say, well, maybe we should think a little bit more about this too.
Yeah, that's great. It was unrelated, but I want there to be more like, instead of like, how can we get asters to replace mums in the fall? Master was like, wait, mums are bad, right? I'm not supposed to buy those. And I was like, yeah, don't buy those. Look for asters. And she was like, oh yeah, there weren't any asters. And it's like, what if, it could be start to replace all the mums with asters. And one day not have them in plastic pots, but one step at a time. All right, cool. That seemed like a good, does that feel like something that is the action committee still in organizational mode, or they sort of close at the end of the plan?
Yeah, we've closed. It was created for the plan, specifically. But I'm sure if folks wanted to get back together without Allison organizing them, that would be great.
So does that nursery outreach seem like something that should come from the action plan committee to like deliver that? Or is that something that, us as UFC, maybe us as UFC outreach committee could start to think about as well?
I think
It doesn't hurt to come from both.
Whoever thinks of it first wins, or does it first. So the more the merrier, yeah.
Yep. All right, I can put that on one of my mental lists at some point. Cool. Let's keep rolling. Oh yeah, Community Preservation Act.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. Let's see. Have a little presentation. If you've been to one of the recent community meetings, you may have already seen this, but the Community Preservation Act, this is Roberta's slides. But the Community Preservation Act is this awesome program an account, and it's in its 10 years celebration this year, so yay. I'm just going to summarize my understanding of it instead of reading this, since you can read it yourself. But the CPA, it's an act that is enabled by the state to be able to have cities add a very small fraction onto taxes, and that money gets coalesced into a fund, and that fund is used for affordable housing, public space and park development, and historical things, upgrading historic buildings and making them accessible. So there's those three categories. It's been great at generating a lot of revenue and has been amazing. It funds a lot of our parks projects in part, so it's relevant to having great open spaces. And there is a question on the ballot this year to increase the surcharge from 1.5% to 3%. So it would increase taxpayers. It would increase the impact taxpayers, but it would like double the budget that CPA has to do all this great work. And the increase is, for most people, not very much. If you're a resident that lives in the property, it would go from an average of an annual increase of $38 per year for a condo, or $93 per year for a single family home. So not a huge increase per person, but a huge bump in the budget. So I'm just sharing the information that it exists, because there's weird rules and It's the information may not be getting out there, so you can go do your own research if you'd like. There's a lot of information on the CPA website. If you do, if you want to share the information with others, please do so they know what it is and they're not surprised, because it's, yeah, Roberta's been working to get the information out there, but there's some limitations. And there are exemptions also for people who they're pretty, what's the right word? They're like exemptions for anyone who feels like this would be a burden. There's a list down here of what the exemption levels are, but if it's a burden, you can become exempt from having to pay the extra money. So it's not going to impose this on folks who would have trouble, a ton of trouble paying it. That's it, I guess. So yeah. Any questions I may or may not be able to answer?
We could be able to actually like buy some property, buy some land,
Make it easier.
or also, I just wanted to mention one of our CPA funded projects is the Morse Kelly Pollinator Garden. It's on Summer it's on Summer Street and Craggy, and there are a lot of flowers going to seed, so I just want to encourage people to collect the seed there, and I'll definitely be voting yes for the CPA for the increase. Thanks, Vanessa.
Thank you. I'm going to stop sharing now, but I don't remember how. Stop. There it is. Okay.
Awesome. And Crystal added a few more notes about this in the chat and asked if it has a direct impact on trees.
It does, in the sense that there will be park renovations, and those parks, when we renovate parks, we always put in new trees and add more shade. So, yeah.
Awesome.
And is it true that nonprofits can apply for grants
I
too?
believe
Is that
so.
kind of?
Yeah, it's, I think anyone can.
Yep. Yeah, so in 2014, I think it was, my Green and Open Somerville partnered with the city. Then they were our sponsor to do this pollinator meadow. So it was community led. So if anyone has ideas for like, there's certain criteria like this, once the space is done, it can't be touched. And let's say you want to do like a pollinator meadow, it would have to have like ADA accessibility, even a little swath to sit and enjoy the meadow. So if anyone has those thoughts, either as a nonprofit or in collaboration with the city, that's a thing that can be done.
Great. I'm just gonna paste the rest of the chat or the rest of the agenda in the chat because it's not super beefy. But we can move on to ongoing work updates. First of which is outreach, which I think some folks are going this weekend to Monster Mash. I know Michael, who's not here tonight, is going, and I think Kala and Tori.
Yeah,
I'm actually not able to go.
Okay, not Kala, but yes, Tori.
yeah, I'll be going. If anyone is bored and wants to pack some seeds with me on Saturday afternoon, that's something I'll be doing. We got a lot of milkweed seeds already packaged, and I just collected materials for the fairy wands, and I have I have a copy of the pollinator action plan before it was finalized. I don't know if I should bring that or not. But maybe I will, just to be like, this was the first draft, but now we have an updated version, because I don't think why is our fearless leader, Allison, I don't think she can get one printed.
Not, we won't have the full print by tomorrow, by Sunday. I can print parts of it. If there's
I can-
like
I have a Krista.
maybe the pollinator pantry would be a nice thing to print.
I think you muted yourself, Tori.
Yeah, can you guys hear me? My connection is unstable.
We can now, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'll make an inquiry. Can't hurt.
I can print the, like a certain part, Tori. We won't be able to get a print, like a full printed thing, but I can do it on the printer at work.
Yeah, if you can just get the pantry.
Yeah, I can do that. Sure.
Cool.
If anyone else wants to go, Monster Mash is, when is it? Sunday? This Sunday.
On Sunday.
Yeah, I'm planning to stop by. I don't know my exact schedule yet, but I'll be around for at least some of it.
2 to 6. Okay.
Cool. Take photos. I always forget to take photos when I'm tabling. So try and remember to take some photos. And I think Vanessa, you can send them to whoever runs the Somerville Parks Instagram.
Yep.
It'd be awesome. Cool. Well, thank you all for volunteering your Sundays. Should be fun. And then Krista asked a outreach question about pollinator yard signs. I'm not positive which ones. I know Tori's gotten some for pollinators, like at Morse Kelly and elsewhere.
I know I saw some, sorry, this is Crystal through the chair. I know I saw some at the City Hall yard in particular today, which is why I was thinking of it. I was like, oh, this is really, helpful. It has a little QR code and all that. But I was also walking down the street down Cedar, and somebody had a yard sign that said, this is a pollinator yard, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know if that's through the city or not, but no. Okay.
We don't print them, but there are layouts of signs that you can print yourself in the back in the pollinator pantry, or maybe it's in the appendix, but in the pollinator action plan, there's yard signs.
You can also get signs, you have to pay, but Xerces has signs. I have one that says pollinator garden in my yard, another one a cool one that says leave the leaves. So I've been thinking a lot about this lately too. I feel like signage is such a good idea. I know it's a little work and a little money, but it's just enticing. I think it would really help with teaching and educating people who would see the sign and read it and at least be a little more thoughtful about, what's going on in this particular area here. So yeah, that's the one I have.
And it looks like it comes with a year-long membership. So this seems like a great holiday gift for folks as well. And Xerces Society is national, international?
Definitely national, maybe international too. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. Cool. That's a great idea.
Is there any money that the city could print some out for people, and we could, like, when we do our farmers market in the winter, like, give some away?
We don't have
I know
money
they're weighed.
specifically designated for that.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't get our yeah, we need to find some funds for general pollinator outreach. I'm not sure we'll be able to get it together this winter,
Yep.
but I'll ask.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
I also like this one. It looks like it's pretty small scale, which I like. And it feels like it doesn't, you know, ideally the plants are what's drawing people in and making them curious. And then having a little resource on where they can learn more is nice.
Yeah, I feel like it's, I don't know, 9 by 7 or something like that. It's a pretty good size. Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Oh yeah, 9 by 10 says. All right, any other questions or thoughts on outreach? Sounds like we can add nursery outreach back on the list. And then another kind of outreach thing. I know I mentioned when we had the Boston Landscape Conference a while back, there was a instigation of a new nicotinoid working group. So I've signed up to be on that. So hopefully I can bring back some updates on how how we can start doing stuff about that too. Which is great. All right, next up we have Adopt a Tree program, which I think is kind of quiet this season. And yeah.
I did get more Adopt a Tree tags printed, so I'm ready.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna send out a list of sites to help with warranty checks, but I didn't do that. So I probably a little late to ask for help because I need information in the next few weeks. So I think we leave it there and maybe bring this back up next spring.
All right. It doesn't hurt to throw it out there though, if someone's already taken a walk around and saying like, oh yeah, can you walk down this neighborhood? All right, cool. And then species selection and planting protocol group, we also have not progressed anything that I can recall. But we did talk about the most wanted weed. Oh wait, that's a different one. Am I doing good? Tori, any
that's later.
thoughts? I think we'll make it happen at some
On the
point.
weeds or on SPAP? I mean,
SSAPP.
SAP.
SAP.
Yeah,
SAP.
no updates.
Yeah, I feel like the
It
action
remains in the ether right now.
plan kind of did a good job on.
It did a lot of work for us. I mean,
Yeah.
I felt I mean, I shared our documents in particular. They
Mhm.
might have even cited them in the appendix on one of the appendices.
All right, what's up?
Because they put the native planting ordinance in, and they put I think they put some of our own signs in. Anyway, so yeah, no,
That's great.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the only other thing that I was thinking, I meant to ask earlier when you were talking about the warranty replacements, do you keep tabs on species of which species are getting warranted more frequently? Because I know we had that like year of NISA downfall. And so I'm curious if that was isolated to 1 year or if that is a trend.
That was a standout. I haven't done like coalesced it all to see it all in one place.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah. But that.
Yeah, if you're able to
those stood
share,
out. Mhm.
if you're able to share that it like a spreadsheet or something, I'd love to just like dig into it and see if there's any trends we can start to see.
Yeah, it's a
and see,
little. I feel like it has to be matched to how many of each species were planted in the year, so like a
Yep.
percentage. So
Yeah.
there's a little bit of legwork, but maybe it's a winter project.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
would be
no,
good, really good to know.
no rush, but it would be interesting to start tracking this over many years.
Mhm.
And because that's going to be the thing that starts to inform like a little bit more nuance.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right, next up we have greening the green line.
So I'm just wondering if if Viola, whoever's in charge now, I don't think it was successful. Unfortunately, like the slopes, they were supposed to be, seeded, foam seeded with native grasses and native flowers, and I don't see anything. And I don't know if the GLX, if they're gone or if they can fix it, because it's not what they said they were gonna do. And like, who's monitoring this? Is there someone at the city level because it was such a traumatic, huge experience when it all came down, and just hoping that there's room things to be reseeded or replanted. So my question is there anyone who's the city liaison for that, and can we get them to come here? And can we ask questions and talk about it?
I think it's still Viola, but she doesn't know everything. It's last I heard was in sort of a weird limbo where it was still GLX, but they were working on an agreement with the city and a handoff. And so like the city couldn't touch it till it's handed off. So I can check to see if she's still the active coordinator. I think so, but I'm not sure. I can ask her to come.
Is
there
that
a
the
new
city
person?
or MBTA?
I mean, she's still here, a new person that's the liaison. I don't.
Or a new
know.
person, wasn't there like a sustainability lead for the MBTA?
Yeah, that's
Different.
yeah, that's someone who's coordinating, not with that's not at a community, that's at a different level. I'd love for him to be involved. I mean, he works with the MBTA. I don't know what the relationship with the GLX and the MBTA are. I'll ask Tim. I'll ask him.
Yeah, I know we all want more out of those areas. So I think that's a plan that has to happen. There are challenges with planting in the soil. So, what's that word? Crowdsourcing it is not really an option because it can be the soil could be toxic and dangerous. So it's has to be like a project. So finding time, money to do the project and to maintain it is, I think, the next step for, big swaths, at least, of slope. I don't know if there's the possibility to have them reseed again before they do the handoff. I don't know. I can ask that. And I can check with Viola and see if she has any information or would want to come to a meeting. But if she doesn't have the capacity to come directly, I'd be happy to, if we have a list of questions, I can try to get answers for them to the best of my ability. Maybe we start with me seeing if it's Viola and where we're at, and then we figure out the next steps. Sound good?
Sounds good. Thank you.
I'll throw some questions in the chat just to get it going. And I'd say if anyone else wants to throw questions in, that could be a good start.
Right.
Yeah, I think I'd be curious about just what's the timeline on the handoff, so we can put a little reminder in our calendar for a year from now or 6 months from now, and then know when to re-engage. All right, now we'll jump to most wanted weeds. if we have a, I'm forgetting where that landed. If Callie, you were working on
Where
that
that-
still?
I have the thing, like the graphic done, but I think I never put the actual information onto it because we were still looking for like crowdsourced images of the plan. So I didn't have all of the images yet. So they're not all on there. But if they're, I mean, I guess we can, if we don't have certain images of plans, we could just find maybe images off the internet that are like copyright free and use those instead.
Yeah, I think I've said I can help with this, but I'm gonna actually put it on my list now. But yeah, feel free to send me, do you wanna just email me with where you're sort of where things are at and I'll.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. I'm gonna put her in the chat if you don't have it. All right. UFC structure. I don't know if that's.
Real quick, I think maybe Allie would want to be part of the Most Wanted Weeds group too. She's not here, so I'm just volunteering her, but it might be worth reaching out since she has the interest in tree of heaven and whatnot.
Definitely.
Could you put her email in the chat too, and I can CC you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Crystal mentioned that Ben and other city councilors have had conversations with Green Line staff over the past week, after the derailment. And if that would be helpful with the greening the Green Line, getting city council folks involved. Potentially. I think if we have if there's like a movement or something that we're trying to rally support around, I feel like figuring out what the current situation is probably a good first step, and then seeing if it's not what's supposed to be happening, then maybe pulling in some other folks might be a good next step. Knowing the derailment is unrelated. Cool. Any other green line thoughts? All right. So yeah, I think our UFC structure was an older agenda item talking about our like cycling of, I think, going through co-chairs and how we cycle through sort of what our timeline is, I think.
And
then
also we've
we have
been
people.
answering one question per meeting in
Oh,
that
yeah.
document.
I feel like we have to add that note because I always forget that that's
Okay.
our task.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh yeah, great idea.
We'll, question, answer question. Do you have the link handy or I can find it?
Ew. All right, let me share my screen again. Let me make this more legible. Oh yeah, and Chris volunteered to start a short history, which I feel like he will check back in a bit, but all right, so last time we started to populate some of this, and then Michael took on who are the members of the committee. I know I had a good time writing my little blurb, so I hope everyone else, maybe this is a good reminder if you haven't done it already. And I submitted a photo from when we planted the small tree pilot project. So for those tabling this weekend, this is another good pitch to take some photos when you table. You could submit that. And then our next question is, what is the committee's role vis-a-vis the arborist and other staff? Which seems like maybe probably both Vanessa and both from your perspective and from our perspective, probably. Do you
Yeah,
want to take on that one?
sure. Well, I'd say that we are part of the committee, so we have a lot of knowledge sharing. In the committee, like it's really senior urban forester, which I sometimes refer to myself as city arborist, and the tree warden, like we're the ones in charge of the trees, but we look forward to getting advice from the committee and thinking through projects and getting help with outreach and sharing knowledge with the community, and inspiring new projects.
I'm just curious, just out of like pure curiosity, like what is the difference between the like your job as a city arborist and Breck's job as a tree warden? Like what are the different responsibilities?
Great question. So we do, well, anyone like, it's complicated. The different cities may have this a different layout, but we have 3 tree people as our full-time jobs. And so we're the tree amigos. Breck and I are 2 of those tree amigos, Malik, and he's the other one. So we've divided up our roles. Basically, I do the tree planting and sort of lead policy changes. Breck is in charge of protecting our public trees and public safety, so making sure the trees are taken care of and removed when they're potentially dangerous. And Malik does he oversees the private tree protection ordinance and also leads our proactive tree programs like Young Tree Training and Parks Tree Health Program. And we try to all support each other in all our roles and ask for help when we need it.
What's Malik's title? Well,
He's the urban forestry and landscape planner.
Awesome. That was a great question. I feel like I didn't totally know the answer to that either, so.
Lots of staff don't know either.
Well, we can make, share it around. And then I would guess I would turn it back to us and how we think we I guess this is kind of tied into the question number 8. I think that kind of answered this part. What do we think we provide as a committee to the staff or to the city, if I were to flip it around? I would say public perspective. Resident. I feel like Kriston and I think a lot of the other people on the committee now are also everyone's really tied into other groups. So I feel like the connection, UFC members, connection to other related groups. organizations, schools, businesses, etc. I feel like that's just like power in many. I feel like Tori, it looks like you almost have a thought.
Well, I was
Your
just
brain.
thinking about our memo pile. We offer opinions, suggestions, on what do we do? Like, well, we also, so one thing we have been doing is weighing in on public space in new developments
Mhm.
and in, parks, and also, developers who are doing large projects. So how do you say that? Give input into landscaping design or green and open space design in a variety of projects. Words are not coming.
Mhm.
On developments of new parks and on larger scale private development. And whatever our memos are.
We like formalize our voice as one to weigh on pressing issues.
Hot topics of the day.
And they're well researched, so there's background
Mm-hmm.
provided, so something about. Like. Yeah. Convincing arguments or something.
Yeah. Researched opinions.
I'm gonna leave it as hot topics for now. This is internal. Be a little fun. Cool. All right. And I feel like this also kind of answered question number 8 about the staff roles in the city that we most interact with. And then can we also add to this? You and Breck are ex officio, meaning you are official members of the committee.
Yeah. We're official, but we're not selected members, we're members because of our positions.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, all right. Is officio capitalized?
I don't think so.
Just like that. Okay.
Like there's a dash, X
Maybe.
dash officio.
We'll go with that for now. And then copy that. And your role is that. Cool, this is helpful. I feel like that was another thing that I didn't quite understand for a while. Great. All right. Well, I feel like we did a good number on that. We're making progress. We're already on like a few pages down.
Right. It's a good way to do it.
Yeah, just a little bit at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Make us reflect on what we're even doing here. No, we think about that a lot. All right. Oh yeah, I guess while I'm sharing screen, I can pull up the jobs. I feel like I did see one in the like monthly email. Oh yeah. City Council Land Use Analyst. Kind of interesting. And then Interiors DPW. DPW Grounds, Tree Surgeon, Public Grounds. Is this a new job, do you know? The grounds and caretaker and gardener.
That is,
Or-
it was here last time too. That's replacing someone, so it's not like a new position.
A new job. Cool.
The tree, the person who was the gardener became
Oh, right.
part of the tree crew. Yeah.
Mention that. Still looking for another tree crew person.
Yep.
And then lots of highway folks, electrician, custodian. That's been up for a while. Sorry, I'm scrolling fast. Hope it's not too dizzying. All right. I didn't see anything else super relevant. Questions, thoughts? For other folks on the call, we always take a peek at who what position Somerville is hiring for, and so that we can be aware of openings and use our network to let folks know that there's cool positions available. And we also do a quick scan of the Somerville RFPs. Are do you know what this asset preservation project is and for 90 to 92 Union?
Nope.
Buildings. Curb insulation. All right. Nothing too wild. Any other things that you know about, Vanessa, that are of interest?
We're working on the horticultural maintenance bid. I don't know when it's gonna go out. But in the next few months, I think.
So. Yeah, that was gonna be my next question.
And then we're gonna also get out the Parks Tree Health and Young Tree Training bids will go out pretty soon too. And I'm gonna try to get next year's tree planting contract out probably early next year, if not before the end of the year.
Does it make sense to try to get in next year's budget someone to maintain the bioswales, a contractor to maintain the bioswales? The ones on Summer Street are gorgeous. The ones on Somerville Ave used to be gorgeous, and they have the potential to regain their former glory. But it's just, you know, as we build more, we definitely want to be able to care for them. And again, stunning, absolutely stunning. And just, if you've been down Summer Street, it's like, if everyone just slowed down, we'd all get there faster. I'm totally convinced of that. So it's just very, I'm like, oh, how pleasing it is. And I get to go slow and there's a plant. And anyway, job well done for that.
Yes, and good point. We do need GSI maintenance for sure. I forgot, but the engineering department is working on a bid. I don't know how they have lots of documents together. I don't know how close it is to being final, but there is money already and it will be going out to bid soon. I don't know if soon is a month or 3 months or what, but in the soon times. Which is great.
That is great. Crystal, I added your comment to our ongoing list, and then was curious to ask a little bit more about bioswales. I'm not sure what your question specifically is, but yeah, feel free to elaborate.
So through the chair, I'm working on something that I think would be related to bioswales. So my impression is that bioswales are a pretty shallow thing, but like kind of more shallow than a rain garden. I'm still working on the terminology, which is part of why I was like, could I just like have a minute or two of explanation? Uh, I'm working on a thing for a class where I am proposing to, instead of see it as an inconvenience or a problem and like a thing where we maybe cut down some of our elder trees, more mature trees that are causing accessibility bumps on the sidewalk, like problems. Could we maybe make those trees into, I'm not sure bioswale is the right term. I think it might be too shallow, but like a place that's like a mini parklet with the tree as a destination, sit underneath it, enjoy it, have some pollinators, like a little bench, and a chicane around it so that like there's more space for the tree roots so that they're not bumping over the sidewalk edge and everything. But also I just don't think I understand like the definitions of the terminology that I should be using here, which is where the question is coming from.
Great point. I am definitely not a bioswale or rain garden expert, but Doris is.
I was gonna say I can jump in here. I think probably like pocket park, but on the very small scale is more what you're describing. Bioswales are specifically stormwater features, and so having features that would have people inside of them with like benches would not be appropriate for something like a bioswale. So a bioswale is a shallow conveyance feature. So it's intended to have a slope and it's intended to transport water from point A to point B, versus like a rain garden or a bioretention basin is more of like a flat basin that has an entry point and like stones to slow down the water, and then it has subsurface features to allow for infiltration of stormwater.
Awesome. I'd agree with all of that.
Great. Yeah, I was gonna say Leah works a lot with those too, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would suggest looking on School Street. It's still under construction, but I think soon in Spring Hill, part of this sewer separation project, a few of the big trees they did route around. So they did bump out the curb more than it was previously to protect the trees. So I'm curious to see how those are gonna turn out. And then I know on Berkeley, I live on Berkeley, so I'm familiar with it. But at the end of the street at Berkeley and School Street, they're also doing that at the corners, sort of bumping out to slow people down at the intersection and provide more space for people, but also provide more soil for the trees. And then they've been doing the flexible surfacing over the tree roots, which allows them to be happier. I have seen it start to crumble, like they're still under construction, and I've seen a lot of the rubber crumbling because it's like not bound yet by a curb or the adjacent sidewalk. So I have been concerned about that, especially I know we talked about this a lot last year about the permeable rubber surfacing. So I think once it's like fully complete, it'll be better. But in the interim condition, I've been like, oh no, this is not great. So yeah,
in Cambridge at the intersection of Dudley Street and Montgomery Street as well, there are some nice examples of bump outs that have been made around mature trees that have been there for a little bit longer. And those seem to be doing fairly well as well.
nice.
We have a couple examples too in the city. There's one, I forget, Columbus or something, right off Walnut near Columbus, if it's not Columbus. Oh, nice. And we did it on Pearl Street for one tree, and we did it on Evergreen Ave for one. And I'm pretty sure Spring Hill, we didn't remove any trees because they were in the way. We built the sidewalk around them. We removed some that were dangerous, but I don't think there was any ADA removals.
Oh, wow, that one in Columbus is very cool.
Oh, wait, which
And-
one was that?
93 Columbus Ave. I have not seen one like that before. That is really neat.
Oh yeah, that got a full. I don't even got a little planter. Yeah,
Ah,
that's good.
I'm drooling. Oh, okay.
Nice.
I have seen somebody like, there was a planter there. It's not so comfortable to sit, but I have seen someone sit
Sit
there.
Yeah.
And in the previous image, I think that would preclude anybody from like setting up a couple chairs, back of sidewalk.
Mhm.
I don't know if that could be a little part of kind of what you're getting at, like, oh, this could be a pop-up sit
Pop-up
and
park.
chat space.
Mhm.
As long as it doesn't, it looks like there's a corner enough in there to
Hang out and
that wouldn't be, blocking traffic or anything, infringing and impinging ADA accessibility.
So we can go. Yeah, you could hang out there for a bit. And I'm also at work doing some more research on, so I know the issue that people have had with the resin bound, the flexible rubber surfacing is that it's made up of little rubber bits that can fall apart. It seems like there's more development in actually flexible stone bound aggregate. So it's still a resin bind, which like resin also has its problems, but it in theory is totally inert once it's cured. But there are some examples of resin bound aggregate. So just like basically tiny stones that are held together with resin that can be a little bit flexible. And we did that on actually another project in Cambridge at Roosevelt Towers, right on, I want to say Cambridge Street, right across from the library. That seemed to be holding up pretty well. So that could be another direction things start to move if the rubber is not the answer. But yeah, hopefully that answered some of your questions, Crystal, and probably was helpful for everybody. All right, let's see what's next. All right, we're cruising. Does anyone have any other topics to discuss? Because I think the last thing is just approval of minutes, but I think that we didn't get those yet, so
Sorry.
punt that to next time.
So this is unprecedented, by the way. We are normally 4:30 to 6:30. Does anyone object to 5 more minutes of discussion?
I feel like I haven't been doing my homework enough to have things to report back on. I need some study hall time.
Yeah, no, I know. We deserve a little break every now and again. I really do think we are pretty strong committee, and I appreciate our ex officios. Yeah, I think we're wicked cool, which is so not cool, but whatever.
So, before you adjourn, like having had all of the time during this meeting to think about it, I just realized while Kala and I were in the Somerville Climate Ambassador program, we actually heard very little about this committee during that, but it is a primo place to recruit from. Like, the worm composting kits that I was putting together as my climate ambassador project, like, 10 of them went to climate ambassadors, like of the 25 or something, like primo targeted people to talk to about the Urban Forestry Committee. Just saying.
Good point. We have gotten a lot of, a number of applicants have gone through that program. Good one.
Do we know when the next cycle is? Or
I
like when?
actually I ran into Naomi Gross the other day, and she told me they were like about to start the next cycle, or maybe in the process of recruiting, but it was going to be soon.
Awesome. Yeah, maybe, I don't know if you all can be our ambassadors to the ambassadors. Or if we hear when there's a,
No, we did it. We're done.
oh, you're done.
We're done. We did it. We
You put in your time.
Now I'm in grad school. That's enough.
That's great. Well, yeah, we'll keep our ear to the ground on when it's coming up. I think any one of us would happily attend a meeting. What's just out of curiosity, since y'all are here, what's like the format and like how often, like how long is it and how often do you meet?
Yeah. Okay. So really briefly, the Climate Ambassador program was for what, like 4 or 5 months, but like a meeting once on Zoom per month to do like an info session, like somebody would present on something or whatnot, and then once hybrid, I was usually on Zoom, as you might imagine, but others were often in person to gather and talk about the stuff from the previous session. And so like a month would have like a topic, like one of the presentations was from the newly appointed person who does the recycling program. She like talked about how we don't recycle black plastic. That's the thing, the big takeaway I took away. Anyway, I think that it might be Naomi Gross would be the person to talk to and say, hey, Naomi, could we maybe share a session of like, here's what urban forestry is in the city, and here's this committee that like people from climate ambassadors could graduate and apply to, and that sort of thing. Like, and also like, here are programs that we do in the city, and like, here's how to get involved.
Awesome. I just found the link. It looks like they are accepting applications right now. I'll drop this in the chat. And it goes from January to May, yeah.
I can reach
Cool.
out to Naomi and tell her about us. Maybe some of my slides from the garden club presentation would be useful.
Also, one thing I would add is that I think in June they usually do a presentation of the final projects that all the ambassadors did. So it could be like a fun thing as a committee if we wanted to go and like visit and watch the presentations, maybe see how we could get involved in some people's projects or stuff like that could be interesting.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Keep that on the calendar. Oh yeah, they already have the schedule through to next May, so
And I believe that there's a stipend.
yeah, it looks like $400 stipend.
And people getting paid, community members getting paid for their time.
That's awesome.
I do have some information on black. Oh goodness. Information on black plastic. You guys hear me? I might have an unstable connection again.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm clear enough. Okay. So black plastic cannot be recycled, but Ricky is accepting pots and trays because it's becoming more expensive for him. So if you have tons of black plastic, which I do, you can bring it to him.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah, I know that we have a family lake house that we share in Rhode Island, and I went down to the Rhode Island plant sale through their like Wild Rhode Island or something it's called. It's a nonprofit, like a nursery. And they were taking back all sorts of pots and trays and things, and I'm guessing there must be a few other places in Massachusetts that would do that too. So that's a really good idea, because otherwise, yeah, black plastic is not good.
And I'm sure they they say this, but having it free of debris or any potential bug spreading is probably important as well. All right, cool. Any last thoughts?
I'd say just let's get our committee openings out to our networks.
Yeah.
I'll do another push.
Oh yeah, why doesn't everyone spend the last 15 minutes finding Vanessa's email and sending it to 5 people you know? Seems
I'll
like
do
a
that.
good action, because I was going to forget to do that, so I will take the next 5 minutes to do that. All right, do we have a motion? To
Oh, I have a
adjourn?
question.
Okay, question.
Vanessa, I mean, Leah, you said you sent a photo in. Did you just send it to Vanessa?
So Michael sent me an email with all the questions and I just replied with the photo. I don't know what
Okay.
he's doing with it, but it could probably count as you're in it, so it probably will count for your photo too.
No, I know. I took a
Probably
picture with Papa specifically.
amazing.
Yeah. I got a lead. Oh, and the other thing, if anyone wants pawpaw seeds to put in your fridge until like March when you plant them, I've been separating them. So I don't know. Hit me up. We are going to have a pawpaw festival, by the way, in about I'm giving myself 7 or 8 years. It'll rival the Fluff Festival.
Wow.
We'll see. That's a goal. It's a life goal. So we need people to grow them, is my point.
I
Looking
think
at
I have
you,
like
Rob.
3-year-old seeds in my fridge.
Yeah, I'll learn a little bit more about it from you maybe on Sunday.
Okay, that sounds great. I'll bring the book. I got a book. Like Pawpaw Life or something. Anyway.
Are we ready? Motion to adjourn.
All right, do we have a second?
Seconded.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining, and we will see you in November.
Yeah.
Have fun
If
this
not
weekend.
Sunday.
Yeah, if not this Sunday.
Thanks,
All right,
everyone.
have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.